Imagine taking the brightly lit, comforting, utterly predictable set of a classic television sitcom and dropping a literal cinematic war zone right in the middle of it.
Right, which is completely antithetical to the format.
Exactly. Usually when we talk about a half-hour comedy, there's this expectation of structural rigidity. It is like architecture. You build a living room or a study room, you point 3 cameras at a couch, you flood the set with flat lighting so you can see everyone's faces perfectly, and the director essentially just says, hey, tell the jokes right here.
Yeah, it's an incredibly safe medium by design. It's contained. You tune in specifically for that predictability. You want your comedies to stay in their boxes.
You do. But then you step onto the campus of Greendale Community College, and suddenly that safe, brightly lit set is completely covered in neon paint, blast marks, and, well, utter post-apocalyptic devastation. The rules of the medium are just shattered.
Completely thrown out the window.
So welcome to Off the Record. We are thrilled to have you with us today for a completely immersive deep dive. Our mission today is highly focused and deeply analytical. We are going to explore the culturally defining, staggeringly ambitious paintball episodes of the sitcom community.
And it really is a massive topic.
It is. We want to show you how a surprisingly simple recurring gimmick, basically adults shooting each other with paint, became a signature spectacle. A spectacle that served as a profound meta-commentary on television itself.
And we have synthesized an enormous amount of material to bring you this analysis today. We are looking at a comprehensive document, essentially the complete origins, the specific cinematic breakdowns of each key episode, and the overarching thematic mythos of the series.
It's a lore, basically.
Right, the lore. We are going to unpack the mechanics of how these episodes actually function, not just as comedy, but as high art homages.
I want to start our deep dive with a foundational, almost academic question. How does a half-hour comedy justify temporarily transforming its universe into a multi-million-dollar action film? And, well, what does that teach us about the strict boundaries of the sitcom format?
I think it teaches us that those boundaries are entirely illusions. The core premise here operates on a brilliant, sustained juxtaposition. Within the fictional universe of Greendale, paintball is treated with a level of dead serious intensity that is just completely absurd.
It is so intense.
Right. What is designed to be a harmless, everyday campus activity repeatedly devolves into literal post-apocalyptic warfare. But the genius isn't just the visual shock. It is how the show blends standard sitcom comedy with genuine high-stakes action choreography to reveal deep, underlying character tensions.
Yes, that is the key right there.
When you put these deeply flawed, selfish characters under extreme, albeit fictional pressure, their true psychological profiles emerge.
They drop the masks, the sitcom artifice falls away. I want to look at the absolute genesis of this phenomenon. We have to start with Season 1, Episode 23, Modern Warfare.
The one that started it all.
Exactly. This is the half hour of television that dramatically changed audience expectations and, quite frankly, television history.
It is a masterclass in escalating stakes. The setup is deceptively simple. Greendale announces a campus-wide paintball competition. And the catalyst, a cash prize and priority registration.
Which, to a community college student is basically the holy grail. Priority registration is everything.
Precisely. But the execution is where the genius lies.
Yeah.
It doesn't just turn into a chaotic game. It descends, seemingly overnight, into tribal violence and a completely lawless battleground. You have characters forming alliances, hoarding supplies, establishing territories in the library and the cafeteria.
It's Lord of the Flies with neon paint.
It really is. The primary narrative follows Jeff Winger, who initially wants absolutely nothing to do with it. He takes a nap in his car, wakes up hours later, and walks out to discover the school has been transformed into an absolute wasteland.
Which is a direct visual homage to 28 Days Later. He is Cillian Murphy waking up in a deserted, ravaged hospital, except, well, Jeff is waking up in a Honda Civic.
Exactly. The visual parallels are stunning.
And this brings us to the sheer scale of the cinematic ambition here. We have to talk about the director of Modern Warfare, Justin Lin. Now, for context, for anyone listening, Justin Lin later became known for directing massive billion-dollar action blockbusters in the Fast and Furious franchise.
He directed Fast 5.
Yes. You can see the absolute genesis of that action-oriented mind right here in a network comedy. It's wild.
That is the crucial technical pivot right there. Network sitcoms at that time relied on flat, multi-camera lighting. The camera was static. The editing was built around the rhythm of a joke, a pause for laughter, and a reaction shot.
It's a very specific rhythm.
Right, and Justin Lin throws that entirely out the window. He brings a dramatic increase in production scale that was unheard of for a comedy budget. We are talking about intricate tracking shots that follow characters diving over tables. He uses extensive slow motion during shootouts.
The lighting is totally different, too.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
He employs highly dramatic, high-contrast lighting. Silhouettes, shadows, light streaming through bullet holes in the blinds.
Yeah.
And the editing, the explosive rapid-fire editing during the action sequences is ripped straight from a thriller.
And it disrupts everything. To suddenly employ the visual language of high-octane action cinema within a 22-minute comedy slot is just jarring. But it is also a love letter to the genre. We are looking at the DNA of Die Hard with characters crawling through air vents.
The John McClane homage is so clear.
Yeah, and we're looking at the Warriors with the highly stylized themed gangs roaming the campus. Like the roller skating kids or the Glee Club. And of course, we're looking at the hyper-stylized, dual-wielding gunfights of director John Woo.
Which brings up the most fascinating aspect of parody. Why does this work so well? Why doesn't it just feel like a cheap Saturday Night Live sketch?
Right, because it easily could have.
It functions so perfectly because it is played with absolute, unwavering sincerity. The characters aren't winking at the camera. They aren't commenting on how silly it is to be holding a plastic neon gun.
They treat it like life or death.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When the campus becomes a lawless battleground, the cinematic tracking shots, the explosive editing, demand that the viewer takes the stakes exactly as seriously as the characters do. The comedy arises entirely from the immense, ridiculous gap between the triviality of the game and the visual language of a John Woo film.
And that sincerity forces the characters into completely new behavioral patterns. Stripped of their usual sitcom defenses and posturing, the stakes of the game force honest interactions. Look at Jeff and Britta.
Oh, the romantic tension.
Yeah, their underlying sexual tension had been a running sitcom trope all season. But under the pressure of essentially being the last two survivors of an apocalypse, they temporarily drop the cool, detached irony. They actually connect.
They do.
They have an emotionally sincere moment amid the absolute chaos that just wouldn't have been possible sitting around a table in the study room.
The action spectacle facilitates emotional vulnerability. But, it also facilitates absolute ruthlessness. Look at Shirley.
Oh, wow, yeah. Shirley is terrifying.
Her character is built on this foundation of being the caring, maternal, deeply religious, moral compass of the group. But when the paint starts flying, she becomes a monster.
What fascinates me about Shirley is how the show flips her maternal instinct. It is not just that she is good at paintball, it is that she weaponizes the guilt she usually uses to mother the group. She uses it for literal psychological warfare.
She interrogates people with guilt.
Right. How did the writers map action hero traits onto sitcom archetypes? They didn't give her a new personality, they just weaponized her existing one.
It is brilliant character writing. And of course, you have Ben Chang. Senor Chang emerges as a deranged warlord figure, complete with the self-destruct mechanism and a laughably intense entrance.
The music when he enters is amazing.
It completely foreshadows his increasingly unstable role in later seasons. He fully embraces the lawlessness because psychologically, he is already a deeply lawless individual.
But the character I find most analytically rich here, and this is a connection I have really been mulling over, is Abed Nadir. Abed's meta-awareness is essentially a survival superpower in this scenario.
Oh, absolutely.
If everyone else is a normal civilian thrown into a war, Abed is the veteran who already has the map. He immediately recognizes the genre shift. He understands that they are no longer in a sitcom, they are existing within the rules of a survival action film, and he adapts his tactics perfectly to fit those tropes.
That is an incredibly apt way to frame it. He treats the events strictly according to the rules of the genre they have entered. If the genre dictates that the hero must sacrifice himself to buy the other's time, Abed will calculate the exact moment that sacrifice is necessary.
He's a genre prophet.
Yes. His understanding of television tropes isn't just a quirky personality trait here. It is the ultimate tactical advantage on the battlefield.
So, bringing the analysis of modern warfare to a close, we have to recognize its massive legacy. This is frequently cited as one of the greatest sitcom episodes ever made.
Without a doubt.
It elevated Community from a clever cult comedy to a massive critical phenomenon. It was the exact moment the show fully embraced its own meta-surrealism. It permanently changed audience expectations for what a sitcom could fundamentally achieve visually and narratively.
It laid down a gauntlet. It proved that television didn't have to be visually flat to be funny.
Okay, so that was season 1, a complete masterpiece of structure. But as we transition into our second area of focus, the escalation in Season two's two-part epic improvement. I have to say, my enthusiasm for this particular two-parter is just like, it is off the charts.
Oh, I know. I can hear it in your voice.
Like, I get genuinely giddy talking about this. It's so good.
It is genuinely spectacular. I mean, if Modern Warfare was the proof of concept, the prototype, Season 2 is the fully realized high-budget symphony. The sheer ambition here is staggering. It really is.
It's massive. Okay, so we are looking at episode 23, A Fistful of Paintballs. The stakes are immediately raised. We aren't just dealing with priority registration anymore. We have a corporate sponsor.
Pistol Patties.
Yes, Pistol Patty's Ice Cream Company is sponsoring the end-of-year picnic tournament, and the prize money has increased to $100,000. $100,000.
Which is insane for a community college.
Right. It makes everything so much more dangerous, so much more desperate for these broke college students.
And the stylistic pivot. This is what I find so brilliant. They don't just repeat the action movie tropes from Season 1. They could have easily just done Modern Warfare 2 with bigger guns.
Which most shows would do.
Exactly. They would just cash in. But they pivot entirely. This episode is a meticulous, deeply researched parody of spaghetti westerns. They draw primary obsessive inspiration from Sergio Leone, the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes, the pacing. We have to talk about the Sergio Leone pacing.
Right, so Sergio Leone's westerns are defined by extreme tension, stretching time, and the contrast between vast landscapes and extreme close-ups of actors' eyes.
And the music. The Ennio Morricone soundtracks.
The whistling.
The whistling, the acoustic guitars, the cracking whips, they replicate all of it. It completely changes the mechanical pacing of the comedy. We trade the frantic, kinetic running of a zombie apocalypse from Season 1 for the slow, agonizing stare-down of a stylized frontier standoff.
The cinematography shifts completely to match that frontier aesthetic. They use wider aspect ratios. They use harsh, sun-baked lighting. They block the characters far apart from each other to emphasize isolation.
Okay, wait, I have to go on a tangent here because I get so incredibly invested in this one specific detail. Annie Edison.
Oh, Annie's great in this.
She becomes one of the episode's absolute standout action heroes. But what makes it brilliant is that she is balancing her lethal competence with severe emotional instability.
Right, because she is holding a grudge against Jeff.
Exactly. And usually the Western hero, like the Clint Eastwood type, is this stoic, emotionless block of wood, right? They don't feel anything. They just chew on a cigar.
They just stare.
Yeah. But Annie is incredibly deadly with a customized lever-action paintball rifle while simultaneously being a complete nervous wreck about her friendships. She is literally crying while diving over tables. I think it is such a brilliant subversion of the action hero trope. It is so layered.
It really is a fantastic character beat because she is fully committed to the bit, but she is also fully committed to her own sitcom drama. It's great.
She is a mess. But a dangerous mess.
And she's not the only one who gets a great arc here. Pierce Hawthorne. Pierce is usually the most selfish, antagonistic character in the group, but he actually gains profound emotional complexity in this episode.
He actually helps the group. He becomes a tragic anti-hero.
Exactly. He steps outside his established sitcom boundaries. He uses his villainous reputation to double-cross the actual villains. And then there's Troy and Abed, who continue to function as Greendale's emotional core. Even as total dusty collapse happens around them, they maintain this incredible, childlike optimism.
They really do. They just want to play. But then, oh man, the cliffhanger. A fistful of paintballs ends. The Black Rider is defeated. And we get the abrupt transition into episode 24 for a few paintballs more.
The shift is so sudden.
The Western parody just vanishes. It completely gives way to full epic science fiction warfare. Because mysterious invaders from the rival city college storm the campus at the end of the first part. They arrive in these white stormtrooper-esque uniforms, armed with futuristic paintball weaponry. The fate of Greendale itself is suddenly at stake. The prize money was a trick to destroy the school.
The genre shift is so severe and so perfectly executed, it moves heavily into Star Wars, space opera tropes, military sci-fi, and heroic sacrifice narratives. The music shifts from acoustic western to swelling orchestral brass. It is so much fun. I love it so much.
Okay, but I want to focus on something I find just incredibly profoundly meaningful in this transition. It is about the character Magnitude. Pop Pop.
Oh, Pop Pop.
No, seriously, think about Magnitude's evolution here. He evolves from a complete joke character, a guy who literally only says 2 words, into a battlefield legend.
Wait, a legend?
Yes. He sacrifices himself by jumping onto a pink grenade to save the study group. I mean, think about the sheer weight of that transformation. It is practically a Shakespearean tragedy. I mean, wait, Shakespearean. I wouldn't go as far as Shakespearean. It's still a guy in a campus cafeteria jumping on a balloon filled with purple paint.
No, but you have to see it. He starts as a one-note punchline, right? The lowest form of comedy. Just a catchphrase. But the crucible of this space opera narrative forges him into a legendary figure.
I guess, but...
It is an incredible piece of writing. He's not just a guy at a party anymore. His pop-pop becomes a dying breath, a symbol of resistance. It is deeply moving.
Okay, you know what? When you put it like that, I see your point.
Yeah.
It is the elevation of a background character to a martyr. I love that. And contrasting that profound heroism, you have the dean, Craig Pelton.
Oh, the dean.
He becomes emotionally overwhelmed by the destruction of the school. He has a complete weeping breakdown in his office.
Because his beloved Greendale is covered in paint.
It creates both comedy and pathos. But honestly, the idea of him just weeping over paint on the walls, clutching his bald head, is disproportionately hilarious to me. Like, it will wash off, Craig. It is washable paint.
Right. It is so funny because it is literally just paint. But to him, his entire world is crumbling. His identity is the school.
He is losing his mind.
And speaking of identity, the episode culminates with Pierce's redemption. He unexpectedly saves the school by infiltrating the city college base. It gives him one of his strongest, most triumphant moments in the entire series.
So the conclusion of this two-part finale is that it proved beyond a shadow of a doubt that modern warfare wasn't a fluke. It wasn't just a lucky strike. It is universally considered the peak of Community's ambition.
Without question.
We have a larger scale, more confident filmmaking, stronger emotional arcs, and these incredibly elaborate genre transitions within a single hour of television.
We emphatically agree on this. To pull off a spaghetti western and a space opera in consecutive episodes while maintaining a cohesive emotional through line about the group's fractured friendship, it is a monumental achievement in television. I really mean that.
It really is. It is just so good. I could talk about it for hours. Okay. So moving on to Skimmed in 3, episode 22, Advanced Introduction to Finality. This is where things get, wow, this is a dense one.
It is a very, very different beast entirely. We are entering complex psychological territory here.
Right. So, like, we have had action, right? We have had the sci-fi.
Yeah.
But what if the paintball is all in your head?
Yes, okay, yes, exactly. The premise here is a massive psychological shift. We move from physical escalation to mental escalation.
Sorry, I just got really excited there. But that is exactly what happens, because where do you go when you can't make the explosions any bigger?
You go inward.
You turn inward. You make the war psychological. Unlike the previous ones, this episode occurs largely inside Abed's imagination. It is the darkest timeline.
Right, the alternate reality created by the roll of a die earlier in the season.
Yes. The darkest timeline version of the study group, the evil versions with the little felt goatees, literally invades reality in this bizarre psychological showdown.
It is a fascinating, deeply weird mix of genres. We are talking multiverse science fiction, dystopian action films, alternate timeline tropes, and straight-up psychological fantasy.
Crazy.
It is less about the physical space of the campus and more about the internal, traumatized landscape of Abed's mind.
Yeah, and the emotional core here. Guys, it is so profound. Like, it makes me genuinely emotional just thinking about it right now. Abed Nadir is confronting his ultimate fear.
His fear of abandonment.
Exactly. He is terrified that the group is falling apart because his best friend, Troy, is moving out. That is so real, you know? Like, things change, friends leave, it hurts. It really hurts.
It is. It is incredibly moving. It is about the pain of transitions. And what is brilliant, I mean, absolutely structurally brilliant, is that the paintball here isn't just a game anymore.
No, it's not.
The paint is. It is not a competition. It becomes purely symbolic of emotional conflict and identity fragmentation. I mean, wow, think about that for a second. Identity fragmentation.
It is brilliant. It is the most brilliant thing ever written for television. I really believe.
It truly is. The paint is. It is literally his fractured psyche splashing onto the walls of his reality.
Whoa.
He's fighting his own worst fears. It represents his inability to cope with change. The game is a defense mechanism. He retreats into the tropes of a sci-fi paintball war to protect himself from the tragedy of growing up.
Yes. You are so right, because growing up is the real darkest timeline. But wait, what was I saying? Oh, the fan reception? Yeah, the fan response to this was, it was divided. People hated it. Wait, no, did they hate it?
Some people did, yeah.
I think some people hated it because the action was less grounded. It wasn't Justin Lin directing an actual tracking shot in a cafeteria, you know?
Yeah.
Much of it occurred in fantasy, and emotional themes kind of overshadowed the fun genre parody. But honestly, How could anyone not love this? It is so deep.
People just wanted the simple jokes. They wanted the surface-level pew-pew paint guns. But the show was giving them a masterclass in psychological symbolism.
They weren't ready for it.
It deepened the mythology of the darkest timeline, which is essential to the show's lore. It is essential.
It is essential. You have to understand the darkness to appreciate the light. Okay. Let me just clear my throat. I am rambling. I'm getting way too into the emotional weeds here. Let's reset the deep dive here. We need to maintain our structure.
Right.
We are professionals guiding the listener. Let's reset.
Professional structure. Yes. We are expert guides. Let's guide.
Okay, so The Farewell. Season 6, Episode 11, Modern Espionage. The spy thriller.
It is. It is just so sad, isn't it?
It is so sad. It is the end. It is the farewell to the golden age.
But it's a beautifully sleek episode, though. Let's talk about the visual design.
Right, the visuals.
The premise is that after years without paintball, because the school banned it, Greendale secretly revives the tradition. But it is not a massive open war anymore. It is an underground, assassin-style game hidden right beneath a totally normal, mundane school carnival.
It is totally different from the massive wars. The genre influence here. It is parodies of Skyfall, James Bond films, sleek espionage cinema.
Very sleek.
The visuals are way darker. The lighting is moody. The camera movements are smoother. They're more elegant than the previous installments. Everyone is wearing tailored suits and communicating through earpieces.
And we get Frankie Dart. We have to talk about Frankie. She serves as the grounded, hyper-rational outsider reacting realistically to the Greendale insanity.
She is so confused.
Because to an outsider, this is absolute certifiable madness. People are diving behind cotton candy machines to shoot each other.
But the nostalgia...
Oh, man.
This part just wrecks me. The episode openly acknowledges that Community itself is aging. The characters are tired. The show is tired. It is actively trying to recapture its former glory.
It shows.
That is such an incredibly brave and devastating thing for a television show to admit about itself. To look at the audience and say, hey, we know we aren't what we used to be.
It is a farewell letter. That is exactly what it is. A farewell letter to the show's golden era. Because it stops escalating. Instead of just making the explosions bigger, which they knew they couldn't do, it asks the most important question of all.
What's the question?
Why do these games matter at all? Why do these characters need this? Why do we need this?
And Abed knows. Abed recognizes the emotional importance of needing one last paintball game. He orchestrates it. It makes the episode reflective instead of chaotic. He just wants one last ride with his friends before they all go their separate ways, before the show ends.
Yeah.
And honestly, thinking about that just makes me think about us doing this show. Off the record, I love recording this with you so much.
Oh, man.
We have done so many of these deep dives. I don't want it to ever be our last game, you know?
I feel the exact same way. I really do.
Yeah.
This show, analyzing these incredible pieces of art with you, it is the highlight of my week. Every single week.
Really?
We are capturing lightning in a bottle here, just like Abed wanted to.
Yeah.
We're making our own golden era right here, right now.
We really are. We are doing such a good job. We are providing a shortcut to being well-informed. We are experts. Okay, let me wipe my eyes. The final section. The running themes across all episodes. And the legacy. We have to wrap up the analysis.
That legacy, yes.
Yeah.
The analytical wrap-up. Let's synthesize.
The first major theme we have uncovered, number 1, genre as reality. Guys, you listening at home, listen to this. This is going to blow your mind.
It's so crazy.
In Community, genre fiction literally reshapes reality. The characters do not merely reference movies. They don't just quote lines. They begin living inside the mechanics of the movies.
Oh, my God, yes.
I know. It is like... They aren't just quoting Die Hard. They are Die Hard. The physics of their universe changes to accommodate the trope. It is the secret of the entire universe of the show. It is their defining creative philosophy.
It is so profound. It is metaphysical. And the second theme, Greendale as a war zone. The paintball episodes exaggerate the school's inherent instability.
The school is already crazy.
The classrooms become trenches. They literally build pillboxes out of desks.
Pillboxes.
And the cafeterias become saloons.
They serve tater tots in a saloon. It is so stupid, but it is so perfect. And the hallways are battlefields. It transforms the mundane, boring school into a cinematic playground. They have a Gatling gun that shoots paint.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, focus. We are professionals. Theme 3, emotional truth beneath absurdity. Despite all the comedy, we have to remember, these episodes happen during emotionally pivotal moments.
Right. Like we talked about. Jeff confronting his vulnerability with Britta, Pierce seeking redemption from being the villain, Troy and Abed drifting apart as they grow older.
The fear of change.
The group fearing the inevitable change of graduation. The action spectacle is just a mask. It masks genuine, painful, emotional stakes. It is a beautiful, beautiful trick.
And its cultural impact.
Yeah.
You cannot overstate it. It influenced television broadly. It helped normalize experimental sitcom structures. High-concept homage episodes are everywhere now.
Everywhere.
Cinematic TV comedy action is the standard. Serialized comedy mythology.
So many shows copied them. The whole event episode format in comedies, but the memes. The memes are endless and immortal. Dean Kelton's ridiculous, elaborate costumes, Evil Abed with the felt goatee.
The dark timeline.
Chang's militaristic, tiger-striped insanity.
Yeah.
And my absolute favorite phrase, the greatest concept ever invented, dramatic slow-motion paint kills.
It is so dramatic. The paint just slowly explodes across their chest like it is a real tragedy.
It is just washable paint. But it isn't slow motion. With orchestral music. Oh, man. I am exhausted. This is so much information we just dropped. We covered everything.
We really did.
We covered the origins, Justin Lin, the spaghetti western escalation, the darkest timeline, multiverse psychology, the spy stuff. I think we wrapped it all up, right? The genius is the balance. Parody without cynicism.
Absurdity without emptiness.
Spectacle with emotional... Completely lost my train of thought. How do we end this? Do we have a conclusion?
I got it. I got the ending. Don't worry. I am an expert. So we leave you, our listener, our friend, with this thought.
Let's hear it.
If your everyday life, if your living room or your office or your car suddenly shifted into a movie genre, what genre would it be? And more importantly, are you surviving the paint?
That is so good. That is so deep. You are so smart. This was the absolute best episode of Off the Record we have ever recorded.
The absolute best. I love you, man. I need to lie down. I need a nap in my car.
I love you too. Watch out for the slow motion paint. It's going to get you. See you next time.